News, events, sports. Same time, same place, right in the heart of Isla Vista. UCSBTV is serving UC Santa Barbara and the surrounding community with real journalism.
Hello and welcome back to UCSBTV, the newscast that has all of the sports, news, and events you need to know. Before we dive into our stories for this episode, here's a news recap from this past week. First up, starting local, there's currently an ongoing UCSB election in the Associated Students to fill the internal vice president role. Voting is scheduled to close tomorrow, February 2nd at 4:00 p.m. for UCSB students to cast their vote. Also seen around UCSB's campus and in surrounding community Isla Vista were anti-Semitic flyers, some sealed inside of plastic bags filled with rocks. The flyers contained historically anti-Semitic tropes and stereotypes and harmful verbiage. The flyers name a video platform operated by the Goyim Defense League, a network of individuals known for anti-Semitic propaganda distribution, according to the Anti-Defamation League. In more news, the recent storm surges in California means the state's water supply will be boosted, according to the Santa Barbara Independent. The Department of Water Resources announced last week that it will be able to deliver 30% of requested water supplies, which is up from the initial 5% announced in December. Now let's move into our newscast, and up first, news reporter Zuri Wilson has the story on the brand new cannabis dispensary that opened up in Isla Vista named Farmacy. To you, Zuri.
Isla Vista's very first cannabis dispensary, called Farmacy, opened its doors for the first time on Pardall Road in December. Cannabis is a recreational product of the cannabis sativa plant that can be used for its medicinal and therapeutic benefits. Cannabis is known to aid with sleep, anxiety, nausea, pain relief, and more, and can be ingested through eating, smoking, or drinking. I met with the floor supervisor and community liaison at Farmacy, Courtney Fraser, to discuss Farmacy's grand opening in Isla Vista and the medical usages of marijuana.
We are one of the pharmacy dispensaries throughout the state of California. The Santa Barbara location is actually our flagship store, meaning it was the first recreational dispensary in our group, but it was also the first recreational dispensary in Santa Barbara County. And so Isla Vista is the first dispensary for IV. And we are here having a blast and educating the community and diversifying the cannabis industry. The way that cannabis aids with anxiety actually has a lot to do, one, with the human. Your body has the ability to create and also receive cannabinoids. So learning what the intention is behind your consumption is really important. So if anxiety is something that you feel that you are suffering from, there are different cannabinoids or even different terpenes that can help you to relieve them. We talk a lot about THC, but we should also be talking about the benefits of CBD, like inflammation reduce, or CBG, like muscle relief. So there are a ton of different cannabinoids and a ton of different terpenes. Really just takes educating. Yeah, I just say things to do while on the journey, just to continue to journal and be intentional about your cannabis use. So for people who are suffering from physical chronic pain, THC and CBD are great ways to relieve that. It's really just about being, like I said before, intentional about your dosage, finding the right strains and the right products. We have some really great local and women-owned products, local flower that we grow right in Carpinteria. So, just really being intentional about the products that you're using and kind of remembering, so the next time you come back, you know if that was for you or not.
However, despite the medicinal benefits of cannabis use, marijuana is still heavily stigmatized and criminalized. Here is Courtney on the stigma surrounding cannabis use and how the pharmacy is working to combat it.
I think the pharmacy is working to challenge the negative perception in cannabis by really showing that cannabis can do good. We are all local community members and we are all cannabis consumers here at the pharmacy. So being able to educate the community, but also support local nonprofits and local clubs like the UCSB Canna Club. Being able to support the new industry leaders, I think, is a great way that the pharmacy is destigmatizing cannabis. Also, by promoting other types of brands, I think that we're able to educate the consumer and give them options, when in the past you kind of got what you got. So we are working to create more medicinal intention behind cannabis, but also show that we're good people. We're working with the community fund to give money back, and we'll continue to do that every quarter. We also hold resource fairs here, hiring fairs here. We want to be able to invite people into the industry and teach them that it's safe and they're okay here. Products, brands, strains, you can definitely expect to see Glasshouse brands. We are a local cultivation right out of Carpinteria. We are a huge cultivation in Camarillo, and we have several different brands coming from tinctures to flour to edibles, and everything's pretty diverse. We also have women-owned brands. We have some UCSB grads that are here, and I think that's most important, is making sure that the customer can really see themselves in their products and in their industry. I'm really looking forward to introducing people to more Black-owned cannabis brands, and really just diversifying the menu. I think that's what I most look forward to. I think using cannabis as a medicine is really important. I repeat it over and over and over. One, to be involved in your community, knowing that this is a safe space to make safe options, but also being very intentional about your use. There are different ways to consume cannabis, so just understanding what that looks like, what that feels like, you'll be able to figure out what's best for you. Cannabis creates a different experience for everyone's body. So really learning about your endocannabinoid system is step one, and anybody can do that.
Cannabis is a medicine. With Farmacy's grand opening, students and community members can enjoy safe and convenient access to regulated cannabis products that they can use for recreational or medicinal reasons. It also is another step towards destigmatizing marijuana use in our community and beyond. If you are 21 years old or older and are interested, you can place orders for pickup or shop in person at 6555 Pardall Road. With UCSB TV, I'm your news reporter, Zuri Wilson. See you next time.
That was Zuri Wilson getting the scoop on the newest Isla Vista cannabis dispensary. Up next is sports reporter Ryan Greenberg reporting on women's tennis and the impressive game they bring to the table.
Good afternoon, Gauchos. I'm here with the head coach of women's tennis, Simon Thibodeau. Simon, good to see you. And we're going to do a little bit of an interview today to learn more about our women's tennis program. Coach, the first question is, how long does a typical tennis match take? I think some people might not understand how a tennis match works between, sets and points and games and matches. So how long does a typical tennis match take?
Yeah, it takes about 2 to 3 hours, and we used to have a format that would take maybe 3 to 5 hours, but we've shortened the formats. First team that wins 2 sets of double gets 1 point. So you go into singles leading 1-0 or down. Then after there's 6 singles, and then you have to win 3 singles to get to 4 points, because there's 7 points to dispute in the match. So as soon as you get to 4, then you win. Sometimes we finish all the matches, so you can win 7-0. But the first 2-4 wins the match. It's more fan-friendly this way. It's not so long, but it's very exciting.
So how much of being a good tennis player is having the stamina, both physical and mental, to be able to play your best tennis for a full match?
Yeah, well, at this level, for sure everybody has played great points, and it's more about maintaining this level, so you have to be physically strong but also mentally strong. And the different element that you cannot control, a call from the umpire, the wind, or the weather, or fans yelling something. So there's always all kinds of stress that you have to deal. So, and the best players for sure are very strong mentally and physically, and they can maintain this level, especially in a big stress moment.
So between your playing and coaching career, what do you think has defined you most as a coach here at UC Santa Barbara?
I'd say my work ethic. That's always working hard. I always had a good attitude. I was doing extra. When I started as a head coach, I remember like almost spending the night in the office and creating new drills or recruiting. But I have much more experience now because I've coached kind of 20 years before arriving at UCSB. It was for sure implementing a new culture here with the program, but also there was a lot of fundraising to do to build this beautiful facility here to get more scholarship and just to create a new culture of excellence.
So yeah, speaking on that culture of excellence, under your leadership, women's tennis has multiple Big West championships, multiple NCAA tournament appearances. What is the difference between a middle of the pack team in our conference and a championship team?
Well, it comes again with the mental and physical strength, and for sure you have to train well. I try to keep the player very focused with great work ethic. I don't let them, trying to talk about other things than tennis. So it's basically being able to play good points after good points at the high level. And we just came back from Auburn, where we play Auburn and ASU. They're both top 15 teams, and it really helped our player to play at the high level every point. If you don't do that, it's hard to compete against this team.
Playing big schools like Auburn and Arizona State, not all of our sports teams are able to play such big schools. Do you ever think about growing the sports culture at UC Santa Barbara, playing such big schools that grab the attention of fans, or is it more just about tennis for you guys?
There is a lot of potential to grow a good tennis team, and especially with this new facility. So for sure, outside the Big West Conference, which is a good challenge to win, we try to compete against the best teams in the country. I've always, scheduled very tough out of conference schedule. So we beat Stanford last year, beat USC, beat Texas Tech, big programs that are in Power 5 conference. So one of the goals is to maintain in the top 20, which we're very close. Yeah.
That's great. So last question, what goals do you have to continue improving the women's tennis program?
Yeah, it's always recruiting for sure. That's one of the best goals. You have to bring the right player here that really on with the culture we try to install. They have to have the talent, they have to have good success, good experience, but also they really love tennis. They're passionate about it, and they want to really keep getting better, and they want to keep wanting to put UCSB on the map. Key to success, the recruiting, but also keeping them improving and motivated. We got to maintain that. We were 22 last year. We're very close to get there, so we're just going to try to keep getting better. Yeah.
Awesome. From the man himself, thank you very much for your time, Coach, and of course, thank you for watching.
For our women's, the 400 IM was a successful event with Samantha Banos at 4 minutes and 23.96 seconds and Sophie Ryan with 4 minutes and 25.22 seconds, taking the top 2 spots. UCSB women's tennis will play their home opener next week, welcoming the 13th ranked USC Trojans to Arnold Tennis Center for a duel at noon on February 12th. On to track and field, one of the biggest highlights for the Gauchos was Sarah Chavez, a redshirt sophomore from Sacramento. Sarah tied UCSB's record for the 3,000-meter run, earning a time of 9 minutes and 46.38 seconds in the first meet of the season. Way to go, Sarah. For our women's basketball, a huge congratulations to Isla Lane and Alexis Tucker for reaching 1,000 career points during the win over Hawaii last Thursday. Baseball begins on February 24th, welcoming Oregon to town for a 4-game series. Collegiate Baseball News ranks UCSB 14th in the country heading into the 2023 season. And lastly, men's basketball. Congratulations to AJ Mitchell for not only getting the 10-second buzzer beater, but achieving a game high of 24 points, as well as a huge recognition to Cole Anderson, who is one of the team's sharpest shooters. I'm so happy to see such a great start to our winter sports, and I'm excited to see what they will bring us to this year. I'm Hannah Abergel for UCSBTV, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to UCSB TV. I'm Alexandra Goldberg, UCSB TV producer, and we'll see you next week with more.